For the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking about the brain. Now, the brain is not a very well understood organ because, unlike the heart, if I were to ask you how the heart works, you would instantly tell me that the heart pumps blood. It's a muscle that pumps blood around your circulatory system. If I asked you how your lungs work, you would instantly tell me that it exchanges oxygen for carbon dioxide. It's a bag that inflates and deflates. But if I ask you how your brain works, you would probably just look at me with some blank stares and mumble something about neurotransmitter or something that you maybe heard in your classroom. But it doesn't instantly pop in there to exactly what it does. And it's because, unlike these other things, which are very simple because they're mechanical things that they do, the brain is not mechanical. The brain is electrical. The brain is chemical. So you can't just look at a brain and hold it in your hand and know what it does. If you ever held a brain before, a dead brain just looks like fat. It doesn't do anything. But if you looked inside of it while it was still alive, you'd begin to understand how the brain works. That's what we're going to do today. So let's take a look inside the brain. We have 100 billion cells inside of our brain that all look like something like this. These are special cells called neurons. These neurons have a long arm where they reach out to another cell and they're going to pass messages across. And what do those messages look like? They're electricity. And so there's, which we call, as neuroscientists, we call these spikes. Now a spike is one action potential, is one message from one cell talking to another cell. And this happens all the time. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you taste, everything coming from all your senses gets encoded into these little spikes, and they're passed through the brain and they're passed around the concurrency within there. But we're going to look at this today. We're going to try to record an actual spike from a cell. But we're not going to record from my brain or your teacher's brain. We're actually going to record from a cockroach. And we're going to do this not just because cockroaches are cool, but because cockroaches have brains very much like ours. So I'm going to put them in ice water for right now because we're going to do a surgery on these guys to figure out how their brains work. So the reason why we're putting them in ice water is because we want to anesthetize them. I don't know if you ever had a surgery, or maybe your parents, or maybe you had a cavity filled. If you're ever going to do anything that's going to puncture your skin, you want to make sure you numb that so you don't feel the pain. The same thing with these cockroaches. If they're cold-blooded, I'm going to put them in the ice water, and they're going to slow down, and pretty soon they're not going to be able to feel the pain. So once he's slowed down, we're going to do a surgery on them. But the surgery is going to be, we're going to cut off one of his legs, and I'll show you why we're going to do that, because inside each one of these hairs inside the leg, there's a neuron living underneath there, and that neuron is going to send information about things that are happening on the outside. Maybe wind blows by, or a vibration, or someone's trying to come up and eat it. It needs to know that, so it's going to zip this information up to the brain, and the brain's going to do something with that. So in order to do that, to record from that, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove the leg from the cockroach, and we're going to place 2 pins inside of it, just like you see. So it looks like my cockroach is now completely anesthetized. You see he's not moving anymore like he was earlier. I'm going to put him on the surgery table, and then I'm going to take my pair of scissors. I'm going to go ahead and snip it right off, right at the base, like you see in the illustration. I'm going to put him back in the ice so he doesn't wakes up. He begins to heal. Now don't worry, these legs do grow back. We're a very green company. We try to recycle everything. So I'm going to take this leg, I'm going to place the pins inside of it like you're seeing on the screen. I'm going to take one of the pins and put it in the back. And that's going to act as our reference. I'm going to take the other pin, I'm going to put it in the main part of the leg, and that's where all the axons that we're talking about are passing by. So remember those hair cells are sending their information right past there. And because these pins are metal, they're going to be sent directly up into our little invention here, the spiker box. So the spiker box is basically an amplifier that's going to sort of allow us to listen into that activity. I'm going to turn it on. You're going to tell me what you're going to hear. You ready? What does that sound like to you? Maybe it sounds like rain. Some people tell me it sounds like static or garbage. Well, I can tell you this is not garbage, this is not static, and in fact it is the most beautiful sound in the world, because this is what the sound of what your brain is doing. 100 billion cells in your brain talking just like this. Now we said earlier that this is a touch-sensitive cell, so that if I touch it, we should be able to hear what the information sounds like is being sent to the brain. Are you guys ready? Tell me if you guys hear a change. Ready? You guys hear that? This is something that we neuroscientists call rate coding, which is the harder you press against something, the more spikes that you're going to get. So let's take a look at what one spike looks like, because this is a really important unit of measurement within the brain. So you can see I've plugged it into my iPad, and you can actually see what these spikes look like. And this is the basic currency of the brain. Everything that you love, everything that you know, everything that you can think of is encoded by these little spikes being passed back and forth inside your brain. So I call this like sort of peering into reality, because remember, if you saw the movie The Matrix, you saw those green things that were coming down and you thought, oh my God, that's reality. Well, this is reality. This is what's happening in your brain right now, right now, right now, to allow you to understand me. So that's one cool experiment we can do, but we can do another experiment. We could take electricity and not record from the brain, but actually try to send information out from the brain. Didn't make any sense. But you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and take this needles right here, and we're going to hook it up to this cockroach leg. And I'm going to put the other end of the needles into my iPod or MP3 player. So the reason why I'm doing this is because your MP3 player or iPod can send out electricity in the form of music. So let's see what happens when I hit play on my iPod. So you see the leg is moving to that music. So why is that? So we have current that's running all the way down our earbuds, into the end of these little magnets inside our earbuds that vibrate to the music. And this is how we actually hear music. But that current is the same current that's inside of our brain, so if you stick it directly into the leg of the cockroach, it's going to dance to the bass of the frequency. Because that bass frequency, as you know, that those that have a car stereos are the loud, big speakers. And the bigger speakers are, the bigger the waves are, the bigger the waves are, the bigger the electricity. So what is the point of doing all this? Of these recording and listening and trying to get things to move, is because you're trying to understand a little bit how the brain works. Because if we can get these tools into your hands in the high school, you know, we have 20% of America, 20% of the world is suffering from neurological diseases we do not yet know the cures. We're hoping that one day, one or two of you can become neuroscientists and help us solve these diseases and help bring about the neural revolution. Thank you.